So Raidou Remastered, Mystery of the Soulless Army comes out next month, June 29th, and Atlas was kind enough to reach out to me, of all people, to check out the game early and report on my findings. And being the Shin Megami Tensei snob that I am, yeah, I got a lot to say on this one. Now, I've made it no secret that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Raidou Kuzunoha vs. the Soulless Army, the PS2 action RPG release. And I don't think that's a terribly unpopular sentiment. It was their first crack at an action RPG in a long time, and yeah, it was a little rough around the edges. And it didn't help that the competition from the same company on the same system at the time was fierce. You have Nocturne, Digital Devil Saga, Persona 3 and 4 also fighting for your time. So when it was announced that the weakest link of the Mega 10 games of that era will be getting a remake as opposed to, let's just say, Digital Devil Saga, right? It didn't really make sense, but having played it now I see the appeal in updating one of the games lacking a little bit of polish and bringing it up to modern standards, because Raidou Remastered, it's a good time. But there's a lot I gotta say on it, hence this video. So here's a brief overview of what Raidou is all about. Raidou isn't actually his name. It is a title given to a devil summoner. He is Raidou the 14th in a line, charged with the duty of protecting the capital of Tokyo with demons. We call these people devil summoners. And when he's not at school, he is working at the Narumi Detective Agency, solving special cases, aka ones that involve demons. One day, when work's a little dry, they get a phone call from appears to be a young girl saying, "Can you meet me at this bridge?" And they're like, "Well, we got nothing better to do." They go, and the girl asks, "Can you please kill me?" Which is definitely a way to start your game. And then the mystery begins. And I'm not going to spoil that mystery for you here. In my opinion, the narrative still holds up, and I want you to experience that. But what I really want to focus on are all the gameplay changes. Raidou Remastered has been essentially recreated from the ground up to, well, appeal to modern audiences. Even for the time, Raidou Kuzunoha vs. the Soulless Army in 2006 did not have a lot of quality life features. You couldn't see enemies in the overworld, loading times were pretty bad, and you could not fast travel. But now, you can do all that and much more. Being a detective, you're going to do a lot of legwork in the Raidou Kuzunoha games. So just being able to press a button and go to the Nameless Shrine without having to navigate is such a time saver. And Raidou Kuzunoha is not like a terribly long game, especially if we're going by Atlas standards, which usually tend to be like 80 to 60 hour RPGs. With this new feature, oh my gosh, this might be the shortest Mega 10 in like the whole series, which is a good thing, by the way. I'm not dissing the game. You do not want your time to be wasted backtracking back and forth, right? I don't think. Maybe you do. I don't know. I also distinctly remember reviewers back in the day complaining that the fixed camera angles really made it hard to discern where you are in the game world. That is just not a problem in Raidou Remastered. You have this new mini-map, which seems like not really a big fix, but it genuinely does change so much in this game. A lot of your investigations have you going down narrow corridors, and, well, if you can just see where all those narrow corridors are in every area that you can enter, that's just another step in streamlining the process, so you spend less time lost and more time lost in the story. And it's not a bad story. It still holds up in my mind. The director for Raidou Remastered did say, hey, we wanted to make this game because people need this title now more than ever. And I'm always skeptical when directors say that, because what are they supposed to say? Oh no, this game will not relate to your strife at all. Of course they're gonna say like, dude, no, this is a very timely game. But truthfully, it is, and you notice that straight away. In the time period that Raidou takes place, a lot of new emergent technology is being brought into Japan. A once very spiritual nation is now turning to science. And a lot of characters are finding it difficult to adapt to this crazy change in environment. I mean, there's cars in the capital. What even is a car, dude? I was taking the rickshaw to work yesterday. I don't, now I gotta worry about this? It's genuinely a relevant game. And it might always stay a relevant game with the rate of technology and how often we have to adapt to it. But yeah, that is something that holds up about it. What didn't hold up, though, is the combat. If they just did not change the combat on this game, I cannot stress this enough. I played this game for 30 hours. All I did was button mash. You don't do that in Raidou Remastered. Instead, they introduced the new mag drain system. And I had high hopes for this system. In reality, it's okay. In the last 5 years, Atlus has put out 4 games with nearly the exact same combat system. So we're really hoping that Raidou would break some new ground. And while it does give Raidou Kuzunoha a brand new moveset, new weapons to play with, it's not exactly a total shift. It's more like a refinement of Raidou Kuzunoha 2's combat system. In Raidou Remastered, you can use 2 demons, and your demon's MP pool being separate from yours is no longer a thing. In Soulless Army, you would actually do combo attacks with your demons till they ran out of MP, and the fights were so easy in that game, you're never going to run out of MP. Now, you all work together in unison, which, from a narrative standpoint, I think is awesome. In the Persona games, the Personas, you don't really talk to them. They're more like tools. Inversely, in Shin Megami Tensei, you talk to them, they are still tools. In the Raidou and Devil Summoner games, they're kind of your buddies, like your work buddies, right? You all have to work together to get the job done, to catch the perk, and that carries over into the gameplay. Essentially, your light attacks generate mag, your heavy attacks don't, but they do a lot of damage, and all your demon skills consume mag when they want to use them, which is all the time. So there's this delicate balancing act of keeping your gauge at an optimal level so your demons can still do what, you want them to do, and you can also dish out damage without overcapping your gauge. Do you need to worry about this? No, because the game is still insanely easy. Now I recognize that I'm a full-time gamer and I play tons of games, all types of RPGs, right? But Raidou's still pretty breezy. Like, you should not even sweat it. I played it on the hardest difficulty they would allow me to, and other than the odd animation that didn't really have like the best conveyance, there's these Tsuchigumo enemies during like the midpoint of the demo, and they would do this like swipe attack. There was like no telegraph for that thing, and I would just lose like a quarter of my HP. I'm like, okay, so you just, you kind of keep some distance is what I'm getting at. But calling it an action RPG, I mean, it is, but truthfully, I consider it more of an adventure game. You're really just, going around the city, collecting clues, talking to people, and there's some fights, right? They did update a lot of the big boss fights at the end of the chapter, though. I did make note of that, and there are some new bosses with, unique mechanics that were never in the first game, right? Like, there's one situation where you have to double jump, and you have to, like, recall your demons because they can't jump. They left their Nikes at home, I guess. I don't know. But at its core, some of these models are still using PS2 skeletons. In particular, these red soldier guys, they don't, something ain't right. But it is a refreshing spin on the Atlus formula, and I hope that they can refine it in another Raidou game, because, this one does well. We might get the sequel. This is the one, dude. This is the one. Like, Soulless Army's sick, don't get me wrong, but I need that mystery of King Abaddon, dude. With these graphics, gosh. A lot of people have also been pointing out that, yes, the textures of the demons are different. The sepia tone of the environment is no longer there. My counterpoint to that is you can actually see what the heck is going on now. A lot of people forget that, like, yeah, the resolution on that PS2 is not so high. And while, yes, games are art, you also have to play them and navigate them. So I think the visuals, they stand up great. The light and dark worlds, they look distinct enough, and Shadow World looks scary enough, I guess. The new spell effects, the new special attacks, and all Raidou's new techniques look great, genuinely. As I was playing, I was taking a lot of notes. I'm like, dang, is that new? Is that new? Yes, there's a lot of new stuff in this game. Will they see a return in investment on Raidou Remastered, though? I don't know. I'm trying to do my best to just spread the word that, yes, the game is coming out. It is great, and if you're a little burned out on that traditional Atlus combat system, but want to sink your teeth into a demon-infused mystery, well, Raidou Remastered comes out June 29th.
I ain't even sponsored. I did this because I love this game.
And all around, it's a good time. It's a really good time. The voice acting, especially, really brings this game to life. There's a couple characters that you just can't help but smile when they start talking. You're like, oh, wow, yeah.
Raidou the 14th, Devil Summoner of Kuzunoha. Is something amiss?
Hey, sound pretty good. It's one thing to read somebody talking in a 1920s accent. It's a different story to hear it.
Yes, this is the Narumi Detective Agency.
Hello? Hello? You're detectives, right?
Yep, I just told you that.
So that sounds up your alley. Don't forget, June 29th, the game's coming out, and if you buy it, we might get King Abaddon. Please, Atlas, please do it. It should be easy, right? That's about it for me. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. More videos coming soon. Bye.